Hi, I'm going to take you through the process of being able to play the piece for you. The first thing you'll need to be able to play, first of all, is a nice, steady, regular rock rhythm, which we've done in class. Now, if you've got a phone, you can download a nice, easy app called a metronome. And by doing that, you can then play along for the right speed. It goes like this. So play along. Once you know that you can play at the right speed, then we're going to start putting the techniques into it. At the end of the first line, there's an open hi-hat, which goes like this. So you're opening on the fourth hit. Think of the words up, down. Bass, tap, snare, up, down. On the second line, instead of just a regular rock, you're adding the bass drum, what's what I call all. Bass, tap, all, tap, bass, tap, all, tap. So that should now enable you to get through the first section of 3 lines quite easily. Like this. The next bit now uses a double stroke on the hi-hat. So it's going to start. The way to break that down, start with, you can say on the hi-hat initially, bass, tap, snare, then both hands to the hi-hat and play the rhythm coconut. Bass, tap, snare, coconut. That is followed by bass, snare, tap. Put that together, bass, tap, snare, coconut, bass, snare, tap. That, in this section, is the third, the fifth, the seventh, as well as the first bars. The second, fourth, sixth and eighth are very easy. The second bar. Be careful on the fourth bar because it's so easy, people tend to make mistakes. And just goes 4 bass drums for the taps. The fifth bar is again like the third bar, no, like the second bar. And it's got the up. And then the last bar is just simple 4 crashes, but count the gaps. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm going to put that middle section from B together. Starts with a crash. Now you're at that stage, try and put the 2 sections together, but first of all, look at the link from the 2 sections. So I'm going to play the last bar before section B, the first bar at B and the second, so it goes like this. So you can hear that you've got the coconut bar sandwiched between the 2. Once you've done that, then play all of the first page. So I'll put the click on again. 1, 2, 3, 4. My big advice on that first page is to take your time on the coconuts. Think how you speak the word to create the rhythm. Coconut and not, so you don't rush the rhythm. Now the second page starts at letter C. Most of this section is based upon what I call the all. which you did on the second line of the piece. So you've just got to be careful on that to put the open hi-hat in on the second and the sixth bar and the crashes on the first and the fifth bar. So that should be fairly straightforward. And then you stop on a flam, which is one stick higher than the other in one movement to create that sound. Remember the gap, a little glitch. So I'm now going to play from letter C up to the flam. 3, 4. From that point, now comes a little bit of an area where you've got to be very careful. There's a gap. So when you do the flam, count the beat. Flam and 2 and 3. That will enable you to get to the 3 hits at the end, which are still eighth notes or quavers. So this last bar on the third line of page 2 goes flam and 2 and 3. Snare, snare, tom. You count that, you put it together and you get flam and 2 and 3. Once you've got that, you've got to link it into section D. Now section D, instead of the hi-hat, is played on the ride cymbal. It also starts with a crash cymbal. So I suggest, first of all, practice the first bar at letter D like this, all on the ride. Be careful of the 2 taps on the ride cymbal in the middle. They will catch you out if not careful. Bass tap, snare tap, tap, bass, snare tap. I'll play that again. And like earlier in the piece, that is now the first, the third, the fifth and the sixth bar of that section, so it's quite repetitive. It must be perfect. Now I'm going to do that first bar again, but with a crash on the first hit. Now I've got that, I'm going to link it from the 3 hits at the end of line 3. So it's and 2 and 3. I suggest you practice that over and over until it's perfect. Here it is again. And 2 and 3. Now I'm going to deal with section D. So I'm going to start from the crash on the ride. Just reading carefully, there's nothing any more complicated than the rest of the piece. Just on the bottom line, you've got a small fill again. So you've got a basic rock 4 beat on the ride, bass tap, snare tap, then a cherry, as I call it, on each drum from the snare drum to the high tom-tom. Bass tap, snare tap, cherry. That is exactly the same speed as you're playing your cymbal. So I'm going to play section D for you now. I'll put the metronome on. Here we go. Once you've done section D, then I suggest you then practice playing all of page 2. So I'll do that with a click on it again. I'm going to now play all of the second page of For You. 3, 4. And 2 and 3. So that's the practice part of all those done now. The next step is to try and put the whole piece together. So I'll also send through the backing track and then see if you can play along to the whole piece, which I will now play for you. I've just got to make sure I've got this up.
for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And 3. And that's the piece.
Slipstream.
And we won't be doing
1,
slipstream.
2, 1, 2, 3.
And that stopped. So think of all the components as 4 sections, practice each part and put them together. Good luck with that. Bye.